Hi, and welcome to Design Resilience. I'm Rachel Williams, and in this corner of the internet, we talk about the things that you can do on a daily basis to build your resilience so that when things change and stuff gets hard, you don't have to gut it out. You actually have things you can hold on to make it easier. And I am so excited to be joined today by Beth Bush, a delightful friend of mine and a former colleague. And I don't want to steal any of your thunder, Beth. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Rachel. So, yes, I am Beth Bush. I am in Chicago. I am a compliance manager. I've been in compliance for the last 12 years, last 5 of them being more like management type roles. And I've been in tech startups since 2019. That's how Rachel and you and I met. And I honestly don't ever see myself straying from the startup life because I love it and I love the chaos that it brings. On the personal side, I have 2 young daughters. That's going to matter for later. One is almost 2. She's actually turning 2 in like a couple weeks. And I have a 3.5-year-old. I have a husband. I have 2 dogs who are both female. So he is very outnumbered in this house. um, Fun fact. So that like almost a point of pride for me is that my 2 girls are already exhibiting signs that they might want to move into compliance or like be lawyers or something because they have the art of negotiation down like already somehow. And they're very orderly. They want things done a certain way. They get upset if someone deviates from what is expected. Like even if you like have a song and you sing like the wrong words, they like are like, that's not how that goes. Like, well, yeah, it's like I'm very like, it's like a point of pride for me.
I love that. That strong legacy of doing things the right way. It's perfect. So besides just being your friend and loving to talk to you, Beth, one of the reasons I wanted to invite you to have a conversation with me here is because I saw a LinkedIn post where you talked about overcoming some challenges. So first, I'd like you to tell us kind of what was the surprise or life change that you went through and what led you to make that LinkedIn post that I found personally really helpful and inspiring.
Awesome. Yeah. So it was April 19th of 2023. I probably will always remember that day. And I had woken up to a surprise meeting invite for like 8 a.m., which is, usually don't get surprise 8 a.m. meetings. And it said mandatory must attend organizational changes. And at that point, I was like, is our CEO leaving? It's like, does someone die? Like, you don't know what to think when you get a random surprise, very early morning meeting. And so I told my husband about it, and he was like, no, they're probably like maybe they're being bought out. Maybe they like something that is time sensitive. So they want to make certain that like it's like the first thing people see and attend, and we were both kind of like, it's probably nothing. And then like something in the back of my head kept telling me like something is not right here. And so I actually had him go and like manage the girls. And I went and started poking around other people's calendars to honestly see like, does everyone have this invite? Is it just me? And then I started seeing like this block, like the same time block on random people's calendars. There was no like rhyme or reason. It wasn't just like all the security team or whatever. And then I started thinking to myself, okay, only random people have it. I can't see the guest list. Like something's going on here. And then I went and talked to him and I was like, this is what I'm seeing. And he was just like, I think this is a riff. Like, he's like, I'm so sorry, but like that just adds up to riff to me. And so I joined the call. Lo and behold, it was a riff. And it was very shocking to me because I had just joined. Like I joined at the very beginning of February, and this was April 19th, right? So it was like about, 2 months of me working there. And I had built out some programs for them. And so this was just a complete shock to me.
Yeah. I can imagine. So, when you started kind of logicking through it and the 8 a.m. meeting, so I had been involved in like investor relations before, where on the day of the earnings call, like it has to go like that, right? Like 6:30 a.m. you need to be at the stock exchanges, like all this stuff has to go. And so I understand where you're coming from with that. But then, yeah, like that creeping, oh my gosh. And then well, it's really not even important how it was handled, a surprise
Yeah.
reduction in force, and you can't do it gracefully.
No.
And you didn't expect it at all. So tell me about kind of your journey and experience after, and then what led you to that LinkedIn post that said you were hanging on.
Yeah. So after this happened, so keep in mind, like, I'd never been fired from a job. I understand RIP is a little bit different than being fired, but like you kind of feel like you were just fired, right? Like out of nowhere. And I had always kind of wrapped part of my identity. And then before having kids, I wrapped basically my whole identity with having a job and building a career and being very like kind of a workaholic and, just wrapping myself up in whatever job I was doing. And so, like, almost needless to say, I got into a very dark space in my head after losing that job. I was probably depressed, like thinking back, and I was probably definitely exhibiting signs of depression. I was in a very bad funk. I like kept having this narrative, this very negative narrative in my head, just like constantly going. And at that time, and honestly still, we're in our Disney season of life with my children, so it's Disney constantly. And one of the things that they definitely have gone to is like Frozen 2. And normally, like before I was laid off, normally I like would put the movie on for them. I might go do some dishes, like, but I was like not really paying attention to it because once you've seen it and then you have to watch it like 5 more times, it comes back. So like you're like not listen to the song one more time. So I kind of like tuned out these like the songs and all that. And then after I was laid off, my daughter was like, I'm going to watch Frozen 2 for like the 10th time. And I was like, sure, okay. And so I put it on, movie's playing. I was busy doing something. Then subconsciously, I don't know what it was, but I started actually listening to one of the songs, which was The Next Right Thing. And there's a line in the song that says, you are lost, hope is gone, but you must go on and do the next right thing. And I don't know what it was. I heard that and I like snapped out of my phone. I was like, Anna's right. Like, you have to do the next. Like, that is so true. Like, you need to be able to like pick yourself up. Like, things are not going well at all, but pick yourself up and figure out what your next step is. And like, it just got me out of this like very negative space and like actually like kind of made me want to actually go find another job and like really put some like serious dedication to finding another job as opposed to just sitting on the couch and wallowing. And then later in the movie, there's another song called Show Yourself. This part is not part of the LinkedIn post I did, but like I started thinking about it more and more. And there in that particular song, there is a line that says, show yourself, step into your power, grow yourself into something new. You are the one you've been waiting for all your life. And like, to me, it was so powerful because it was like, I don't need to rely on someone else to tell me what my career is going to be. I can now I can use this opportunity to decide what I want to do. Do I want to start my own business? Do I want to go to law school? Like, I started exploring all of these different things that I've been like telling myself for decades. Like, you should go do this. You should try this out. But like, and I never had a reason to try these things. Yes. And so it became one of those like moments where it's just like, I am the one that I can show myself that I can, do these things. And so I use this very kind of, negative, not great moment of my life. And then like almost change that story into something very, very powerful and very, positive.
Come through, Disney. Go, Anna. That's amazing.
Come on, Disney.
Man, what an incredible story. Yes, because I absolutely relate to the tying your identity up into work and then kind of the heartbreak around I didn't make the choice to leave, because it's very different when you make the choice to leave an organization versus they make it. And it's not anything like you've been on a performance improvement plan. This wasn't a step. This was just done. And also the kind of the track that you can be, you know, one of my favorite repeated statements is, I'm poor now.
Right.
I'll never travel again. Like, stupid things you tell yourself.
Right.
And then to cling to such powerful messages. I'm
Yeah.
the one I'm waiting for. And I know for me, and when I've been in kind of negative headspaces, I was resentful of that. So it's like, why do I have to be the one to save myself? But I realized that I was the most capable and the most knowledgeable and the most able to find the solution that makes the most sense for me. So amazing. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So having gone through this full, you know, you've seen the cycle now. You had the job, and then it went away, and then it was dark, and then it was light, and now you've explored all these things, and you're kind of moving on. If you would have told yourself something, do you think going through that whole full thing was the right way? Would you have shortened it anyway? Looking back on that experience, what would you offer to somebody going through it?
So one thing that I mean, obviously, I'm speaking from the perspective of I did get severance. I did get so I had some wiggle room. I did have some cushion there, right? Obviously, I mentioned I have a husband, so I have, you know, some ability to be like, okay, I don't have to like immediately just jump into another job because I need to pay bills, right? So I am blessed in that way, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that a big thing for me and someone that I would or advice I would give to someone else going through something like this is like, one, give yourself grace. I beat myself up so much being like, what did you do wrong? How could you let this happen? Like, did you not work enough hours? Like, what's going on? Like, understand that like something like a riff is not you. It's a reflection of the company, not on you, right? Like, this is not something that you could have done anything to prevent. And I think that took me a very long time to realize. Even after I got another job, it still was one of those things where it was just like, I don't know if it was a matter of pride or whatever it was, but like, it was one of those things that it took me a long time to just move past. Like, I didn't do anything. In fact, I was actually doing a very good job, and they made this decision, right? So that would be the first thing is like, give yourself grace. Like, and then also let yourself feel those emotions. Like I mentioned that when I, you know, was in my very dark space, like, it's like you're going through the stages of grief after something that shocking happens to you. At least for someone like me who is a workaholic, like it was truly like I ended up realized I was going through the stages of grief. And actually, one of my sisters is a social worker, and I was explaining to her what I was feeling like. She was like, you were literally experiencing grief. Like, and you know, through her coaching and through just like me being able to think on it, like letting yourself feel whatever you're feeling that moment. If you're mad, if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're in denial, like just let yourself feel whatever you're feeling and let it organically be able to just go through these motions, right? And go through the different stages and like understand it's not going to be something that's going to resolve overnight or anything like that. Another thing is like, don't sell yourself short, right? I've seen so many people and LinkedIn posts and things like that where it's just like people are just trying to get a job, and especially in today's world, like it's very challenging, especially all the layoffs that are happening. But I did feel like I had the ability, and I felt more empowered when I still said I still have standards. And I still have my personal requirements I want to adhere to. Like, I personally wanted to be a remote employee. I love being a remote employee. So when I would talk to recruiters and they would say, hey, I have this job for you, I said, well, is it remote? They're like, well, no, it's in office or it's hybrid. I'd be like, well, would they be open to making it remote? And they would say, no. I'd be like, then I don't want to be considered, right? So I didn't settle. And I think that does help you still feel like a human and still feel like you're not just like oh, I have to just take whatever I can get. No, like, you know, understand that you like can actually still have your standards. And then in that, like, obviously apply to jobs, network, do what you need to do. But then like don't like consume every hour of your day. Like I for the first little while, like all I was doing all day long was applying to jobs and I got so burned out so fast. So then I just started being like, I'm gonna allocate 3 hours to applying to jobs and talking to people and all that. Rest of my day, I'm gonna go watch a movie. I'm gonna go draw. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go learn a new skill. I'm gonna go hang out with my kids, like go hang out with my dogs. Like, I'm gonna go do things that I haven't been able to do in decades. like, like, so yeah, that's what like I that would be the other thing. And then the last thing that I would say is like remember that this is definitely a scary point in your life, right? Like going through a rift or going through some other really big change that you weren't expecting. Like it's scary. And but I would wager that just based on my own personal experience, that of course, depending on the situation that you're in, this will end up being a blip on your radar. Like I can look back on it now that I'm, more than a year past of when that happens.
Right.
And I don't think about it at all anymore. Like unless someone brings it up and like, is like, or I'm interviewing someone and I say, hey, I see that your tenure at this company ended. Can you tell me about it? And they're like, oh, I went through a riff. That actually going through that experience, I can now empathize with them. Like, it's not
Right.
like, oh, I'm sorry you went through it. But now I'm like, oh, I know what that's like. Like, oh, okay. Like, I understand what you're actually going through. And no, it isn't the end. It just isn't. Like, this literally will be a blip. And then you will be able to move on. Like, 100%.
Oh, that for me is the song in Frozen 2. Like that clinging to that, like the permission, the grace to be where I am, permission to feel the things, and knowing that this too shall pass. And sometimes we're not ready to hear that, but man, will it. That
Yes.
Brilliant. Beth, what man, you tell stories beautifully. Like this is awesome. I am pumped. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience. And I'm just so glad we're friends. This is the only time we're gonna hang out.
When it's like really cold here, I can
Yes, absolutely. Come get some of this Texas eat. For sure. Well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. And I so appreciate you.
Of course, I appreciate you. And I'm so happy you're doing this. Or like I really think that especially at this time, like in our socioeconomic climate, like we need things like this. Like this is what I needed a year ago, right? Like I needed someone to tell me this and to hear this. So I so appreciate that you are doing this for just the masses, for all the people.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to kind of like you share what I've been through, what I've seen work. In the middle of it, I had no idea what was going on. And then after being able to kind of put it together and be like, oh, okay, yes, we're waving the green flags for people to be like, nope, just keep coming. You'll be all right.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for watching this episode of Design Resilience. We appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions, just comment below, let us know, and we'll be in touch. Thanks so much.